America's Heartland is made possible by the United Soybean Board, whose Common Ground program creates conversations to help consumers get the facts about farming and food. There's more at findourcommonground.com. The American Farm Bureau Foundation for Agriculture, dedicated to building greater awareness and understanding of agriculture through education and engagement. More information at agfoundation.org. Farm Credit, financing agriculture and rural America since 1916. Farm Credit is cooperatively owned by America's farmers and ranchers. Learn more at farmcredit.com. The Fund for Agriculture Education, a fund created by KBIE to support America's Heartland programming. Contributors include the following.
Hi, I'm Sarah Gardner. Cranberries have been an important crop here in New England since way before the American Revolution. We'll take you to Massachusetts, where the bright red berries are a colorful crop for one farm family.
I'm Rob Stewart. We usually greet you from the middle of a farm or a ranch all across the country, and this is no exception. Growing behind me inside this warehouse are mushrooms. The mad rush for mushrooms is on.
Hi, I'm Sharon Vaknin. We're serving up a true American original. Summer squash is loved by gardeners across the country, and we'll show you a few recipes that will bring delicious dishes to your table.
What are the institutions in your town, the place that give your community its vibe or its culture? Hi, I'm Jason Schultz. Coming up, I'll take you to Kansas to find out why that place in many small towns is the cattle sale barn.
You can see it in the eyes of every woman and man in America's heartland, living close to the land. There's a love for the country and a pride in the brand. In America's heartland, living close to the land.
Want a fruit that's truly American? Look no further than the cranberry. The bright red berries were used for food and fabric dyes well before the first European settlers arrived. Cranberries are an important part of the history here and for one particular family.
We landed with the Mayflower in 1620, and the surname Walker came in 1635, and my mother's family landed in 1632. That's hundreds of years of a tradition.
Annie Walker is the owner of Annie's Crannies Cranberry Farm on Massachusetts Cape Cod. It's a unique farming operation dating back before the American Revolution.
This land has only been worked by the Nabscusset Indian tribe, the Hall family, and the Walker family.
A number of native varieties of cranberries grow in the wetland bogs of Massachusetts. The state has some 14,000 acres devoted to the bright red fruit.
What I grow is called Howes, H-O-W-E-S. The Howes berry was cross-pollinated and cultivated on Scargo Lake here in Dennis in 1847.
Cranberry production here is so rooted in antiquity that even crop yields are measured differently. No bushels here. Think instead of barrels, like those found on old sailing ships.
A barrel is approximately 100 pounds. I think the average for Howes is about 120 barrels an acre. And on my best year, I've grown over 450 barrels to the acre of Howes.
There are two methods of harvesting cranberries, wet pick and dry pick.
The wet-picked cranberries represent about 95% of all the cranberries grown in Massachusetts. They're ultimately going to be used in juice, sauce, sweetened dried cranberries, those sort of products. And it's a 3-day process. The first day they flood the bog, then they drive out with harvest machines, and they literally knock the cranberries off the vines. They float to the surface because they have air pockets inside of them. And then the third part of it, they corral the fruit and pump it off of the bog into the trucks.
Annie, who prefers selling cranberries as fresh fruit, employs the dry pick method using a motorized walk-behind harvester.
It's got teeth on the front, which is like combing your hair. So when you dry pick, you always go in the same direction, around clockwise, and the paddles push the berries up into a burlap bag.
She also uses a two-handed comb scoop for the edges of the bog.
What it does is it leaves the vine, it pulls up all the runners, And then I go back and I hand prune this with a pruning rake to get rid of these runners.
The crop eventually makes its way to a separator, this one built more than 100 years ago.
When they go in the separator, there's bounce boards. A good dry berry bounces. They have chances to hit the board and bounce forward. If they hit the board and it doesn't bounce forward, it will drop to the rotten bins in the bottom. This looks like a happy hive. Let's see if they're happy.
With bees necessary to pollinate the cranberry crop, Annie maintains hives all around her bogs.
If the bees don't kiss the flowers, we don't get cranberries. It's that simple.
In addition to established honeybee colonies, farmers here are attracting native bees, butterflies, and other pollinators by growing certain kinds of wildflowers.
Because you don't want plants that are going to compete and be a pest on the bogs. You also don't want them to be in bloom when the cranberries are in bloom.
The bees are happy, we're happy, because they have to pollinate the food source. So if this helps get them through the winter, they'll stay here and they'll go out on the bog.
It was fun.
Annie's niece, Molly, is already planning to continue the farm work here. The farm's bright berries, perhaps a metaphor for the future.
Even when I go away to college, I've been studying local agriculture and how it helps sustain and build strong communities, which I think is really important today.
The best part of this experience is that I'm able to save something that my grandfather, great-grandfather, great-great-grandfather did and pass it on to the next generation. The best day of the year for me is a Labor Day party where the whole family comes and partakes. And that's sharing it with the family is the best.
Do you like cranberry juice? The phytochemicals in cranberries are a good source of healthful antioxidants. But cranberry juice is no new health food invention. Early settlers to New England began consuming cranberry juice in the 1600s, and the vitamin C in fresh and dried cranberries helped early American sailors prevent scurvy while at sea.
Mushrooms, they are wildly popular these days. Mushroom sales in America top $1 billion a year. You know, this culinary crop is grown in some very unique locations, and that includes this warehouse farm in Northern California. This is the heart of the capital of California, downtown Sacramento. It is a bustling city, home to 500,000 people. This is one of the city's industrial parks, street after street lined with warehouses. And we found something inside this building on B Street that just might catch you by surprise. When we pulled up here and I saw this warehouse, I said, no way, this can't be a mushroom farm.
Urban farming.
Meet Roxana Walker, a mushroom maven who turned this ordinary warehouse into an 8,000 square foot farm.
Now, a warehouse is ideal because you can control humidity, you can control how much light they get, how much fresh air they get.
There is a science to every method of farming, especially mushrooms. Misters keep the humidity level high, between 65 and 70%, and each of these bags contains the materials to spawn and grow her mushroom crop. They just pop right up out of here?
Yes, it's sort of like the phenomenon of your mushrooms in your yard.
And so, how long will this continue to fruit?
This is the third fruiting for this particular set of baskets. And basically, they continue to fruit until they have used up the water in the bags.
Every Saturday, Roxana's crew makes the mushroom bags from scratch. They start with recycled sawdust, wetting it down and pumping it into these individual bags. Then the bags are cooked, sterilizing them with steam. Each bag is then capped with cotton, then seeded with mycelium, called spawn. What are these white clumps in there?
That's the actual plant. That's the mycelium. And same with the brown. They give off this waste product, basically, that browns up the bag. So the plant is this, and this is its fruiting body.
All of this began as a hobby for Roxana. In 2000, Roxana, a chemist by trade, started growing mushrooms in her home to sell at a local farmer's market.
They look gorgeous. I mean, look at this. This is the blue. And it's just velvety, and huge. These are my favorites.
Roxana quickly outgrew her home mushroom farm and in 2010 took a leap of faith, transforming her hobby into a career, growing more than 1,000 pounds of mushrooms a week. This box of mushrooms, you say, just picked a couple of hours ago.
Yes, this morning. And we are setting up for our farmers markets tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yes, everything's going out. You like those?
Yeah.
And then on the very end, everything we grow is in a combination pack.
Roxana loves to meet her customers, selling her mushrooms at farmers markets all across Northern California and delivering to gourmet chefs at regional restaurants.
And this guy is our fantastic showboat for the summer. It loves heat, golden oyster, and its cousin, the brown oyster.
Roxana also teaches her customers how to grow their own mushrooms with kits she creates at the warehouse.
Good.
So good, it's so exciting.
Oh, I'm glad you're having a good time with it.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's a full circle moment for the happy mushroom farmer, from hobby to career to teacher of the trade.
Being in the warehouse satisfies my intellect that I can grow these, but my heart is completely satisfied by being here, seeing people enjoy my mushrooms, coming back week after week and buying my mushrooms. I love it. I love it.
Take your pick. There are several thousand varieties of mushrooms growing in the United States, but only a few hundred are thought to be safely edible. And a word about toadstools. The word was once used interchangeably by some cultures in identifying certain mushrooms. Today, the word toadstool is often used to describe examples of poisonous mushrooms.
I'm Sharon Vaknin. Still ahead, we go from farm to fork with some colorful recipes using the delicious summer squash.
Going once, twice, sold. Hi, I'm Jason Schultz. Still ahead, I'll take you to Kansas to see how the small-town cattle sale barn helps keep the community strong. Mom always said to eat your veggies, and she was right. Vegetables are a no-fat, vitamin-packed food that's been shown to improve your health. And in the store, you can find vegetables fresh, canned, frozen, or even as a juice to drink. So what's your best option? Let's start with frozen. These vegetables get frozen within hours of being harvested, sealing in those valuable vitamins and nutrients. Canned vegetables get washed, cut, prepared, and canned in preservatives soon after harvesting as well. Studies have shown that both frozen and canned vegetables are good alternatives to fresh because they don't lose those valuable nutrients as quickly. And if you're concerned about sodium, there are no or low sodium canned options available. The biggest benefit of canned and frozen, the ability to eat a variety of vegetables year-round, in and out of season. Of course, fresh vegetables eaten soon after you buy them are always a great choice. And with many grocery stores now buying regional produce, you'll now find vegetables that could have been picked the day before. The bottom line, vegetables in any form can help reduce your bottom line, if you know what I mean. And Americans generally eat a fraction of the veggies we're supposed to eat every day, so get those veggies off the shelf and into your diet.
Squash is one of my favorite vegetables because, well, it's a lot more than just zucchini. Cliff, tell me a little bit about your squash farm.
My great ancestors actually started in the 1850s.
So tell me, what's the growing season of squash?
Squash will start production in early May and it will go all the way to the first frost.
How big can these guys get?
Well, if you leave them, they'll get, big enough they'll tip the plant over. Personally, I prefer to eat them when they're like that or even smaller.
Which squash varieties do you grow?
Well, we have the zucchini that you're growing there. We have the French rounds. We have the yellow zucchini. We have the Italian zucchini. We have the yellow summer squash and then the green summer squash.
Well, today I want to try as many as we can. So for my dish, though, I'm going with the classic zucchini, and we're making beef stuffed zucchini poached in a delicious hearty tomato sauce. To get started, we'll cut cut the stem off these guys and then slice them in half lengthwise. Now, we want to carefully scoop out the flesh. You got it? I know, I told you, carefully. Those are done. We're gonna put them aside. Now, if you would so kindly give the flesh a good chop, we're gonna throw it in our filling. I've got 1 pound of beef in here, so add our flesh. To finish it off, I'll add about half a cup of breadcrumbs. We want it to be a little bit stickier, so I won't put as many breadcrumbs as I usually would. I'm also going to add paprika. I have cayenne pepper, salt, pepper. All right, now we'll add some cilantro. And maybe while I'm doing this, you can dice the onions. I'm on the verge of tears, but the good news is our beef filling.
I know, being around me does that to you, huh?
What I need you to do is get your hands dirty and mix this baby up.
All right.
And while you do that, I'm going to go ahead and dice this red bell pepper. This is also going to be a part of our tomato sauce. Then I'm gonna have you start stuffing the zucchini. And while you're doing that, I'm going to slice some mushrooms for our sauce. And finally, a couple cloves of garlic. Those are looking good. All right, I'm ready to make my tomato sauce. Put some olive oil in this pan to saute our vegetables. So I'm gonna add my onions. Yeah. Add all of our lovely veggies. Now we'll saute these until they're tender. Here goes the tomato sauce. It's time we put these guys in the tomato sauce.
All right, let's do it.
So once all the zucchini are bathing in this lovely tomato sauce, we're going to let them sit there and basically poach for about 40 minutes. Let's start your dish.
Mine has all the different varieties of squash in it, and it's going to be very simple, and we're going to take all those different varieties and blend a total new taste to them.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to chop up a bunch of garlic here.
And what can I do?
And I need 1/3 of a cup of chopped,
Oh, God, you're gonna make me
3/4 of a cup of chopped onions, please. I'll go ahead and start on these squash. We just want to make nice thin slices. The little French rounds, I just split them in half. And then just
Cut them this way?
Yeah, that'll work.
Now, can you eat the squash raw?
You can. If
Okay.
you're going to eat them raw, I normally like the really small ones.
Okay.
And I'm just going to whack up a little bit of bell pepper here.
Exactly 3/4 of a cup of onion.
Wonderful. And now we throw in 4 cloves of garlic that
All
we
right.
nicely chopped up. You can vary the taste all over the place by what ingredients you add, because the squash is simply going to complement the flavors of those other ingredients.
Nice.
Now let's throw that medley of squash, throw it all in. And we'll just add this to our mixture.
Mix it up.
And mix it up really good. Then the last ingredient we've got to mix up is going to be a little egg mixture with these mushrooms in it. All right, now Sharon, if you want to bring that over here and pour it in this bowl, please.
Woo. All right.
And then we're going to throw this back in the skillet.
That looks amazing, and I think these guys are also ready, so
Boy, do they smell good.
let's eat.
All right.
Oh, it smells so good. And then how about some zucchini? Oh yeah, that'd be great.
So it looks very exciting. Very good.
Yeah. Did I do the zucchini justice?
You did. The zucchini is very proud.
Yeah,
You've done it
good.
proud.
And what I like about your dish, besides the fact that we use like 7 different varieties of squash, is that the squash still have their crunch, which I absolutely love.
And for me, yours is wonderful, but being an old guy that doesn't like to clean up the kitchen, mine only dirtied 2 pans.
Ooh, you got me on that one. Well, I think that you and I did a pretty good job today of showing that squash can be used in so many different ways.
There's just no end to how many things you can do with this squash.
Bon appetit.
Thank you.
Fredonia, Kansas is like a lot of small towns around the Midwest. With a population of just over 2,000 folks, the economy here is directly linked to agriculture. And that bond is on display every Tuesday as farmers and ranchers come from miles around to buy and sell cattle.
This is a rural community, a hard-working community. Most people are somehow involved in farming or ranching.
It's safe to call Fredonia, Kansas sleepy. Well, on Wednesday through Monday. Tuesdays, it's a little more crowded around here.
Sold on 155, that'd be 700 on 5.
Tuesdays is sale day.
And while the cattle outnumber the people who show up, the Fredonia Sale Barn is the place to be.
I'll sell between 1,000 and 1,400 cattle today.
Look at the layout, look at the condition.
Brad Hahn owns the sale barn, and on Tuesdays it's his and auctioneer Blaine Lotz's job to bring in the most cash for the cattle brought here for sale.
He doesn't quit till there's not a nickel left. He gets it all out of the buyers, and he's brought buyers in here from all over.
Many small towns that dot the rural landscape don't have a manufacturing or industrial base. In Fredonia, the sale barn, where farmers and ranchers bring their cattle to sell, is an important economic driver. So what would this town do without this barn? It's not a hypothetical question.
You know, we went through a period there where when Olin Goins, the previous owner, got some age on him and he sold it, and then another guy had it, and the sale barn actually had a fire and was shut down for 2 years. And during that time period, it really, really hurt the community.
We didn't realize how bad it hurt the community. The retailers talked about it, the gas stations, nobody came. We hauled our cattle to Parsons, which is, for me, it was about 60 miles away from my pastures.
The Hahn family is familiar with the challenges of that kind of distance and isolation. They've been raising cattle in the Flint Hills for generations.
My great-great-granddad came here on a wagon train. My family's been here for 160 years, and I hope that my family's here for another 160 years.
That's what Mike says about
It's a family affair with Brad's wife, parents, and son helping with the cattle.
I think this drought deal, the cattle's just going to keep it coming until we run out of cattle.
After the former owner of the barn came to them and suggested they purchase it and get it running again after that fire, Brad hesitantly agreed.
And it's been a tough old road to go of it, but we've got her rolling now and humming, and I'll sell as many or more cattle than any sale barn in southeast Kansas. This is our 5th year in business here, and for 5 years in a row, I've increased the number of cattle every year.
We had to haul our cattle to Parsons or Eureka.
And with only a few dining options in town, the seats are full on Tuesdays at the Sale Barn's restaurant, managed by Brad's wife, Michelle.
All the cowboys gather around and sit and visit, and I mean, it's just a nice place to be,
How's the steak?
Haven't got there yet. Save the best for last.
If you want to know about the impact a sale barn has on small towns like Fredonia, just ask Dan Green. He has a gas station and tire shop in town.
And if they sell in Wilson County and they drive their trucks and their trailers to here to get them, then in turn I sell fuel, I sell tires because they're coming here. And that's what makes it great for our community.
Seeing local businesses stay alive is heartening for Brad. He's concerned about the future of the rural economy.
People are leaving town and are the kids that do grow up here. At Fredonia High School, they had the smallest senior class. There are not many young people left here.
But one young person is sticking around. Brad's 16-year-old son, Trevor, has already let him know he wants to follow in his father's footsteps after college. What does he say when you tell him, hey, I want to do this someday, I want to run this operation? What does your dad say?
He wants me to. He's proud of me, and this is what I want to do, and I'm looking forward to taking it over.
Until then, look for Brad in the ring, ranchers in the seats, hot food on the plate. Tuesday in Fredonia, Kansas is sale day. That's going to do it for this time. Thanks for traveling the country with us as we meet such interesting people and places. We'll see you next time right here in America's Heartland.
And don't forget, you can stay in touch with us 24/7. We make it easy on you. You can find us on some of your favorite sites. You can also find all of our stories and video on our website, americasheartland.org. We'll see you next time right here on America's Heartland.
You can purchase a DVD or Blu-ray copy of this program. Here's the cost. To order, just visit us online or call 888-814-3923.
You can see it in the eyes of every woman and man in America's heart, living close to the land. There's a love for the country and a pride in the brand in America's heartland, living close to the land.
America's Heartland is made possible by the United Soybean Board, whose Common Ground program creates conversations to help consumers get the facts about farming and food. There's more at findourcommonground.com. The American Farm Bureau Foundation for Agriculture, dedicated to building greater awareness and understanding of agriculture through education and engagement. More information at agfoundation.org. Farm Credit, financing agriculture and rural America since 1916. Farm Credit is cooperatively owned by America's farmers and ranchers. Learn more at farmcredit.com. The Fund for Agriculture Education, a fund created by KVIE to support America's Heartland programming. Contributors include the following: